It's been a million years. Oh my god, hang on, I'm not used to this. Okay. Hello? Hello? Is this thing working? Is this thing on? See if it works. Hang on. It is not changing. There we go. Why is it so delayed? It's so delayed. Huh. I will have to fix that after this. Whack, whack. It's working. So I guess it's just delayed, which sucks. So I guess it's fine. It's been a million years. It's been a million years. So I've been doing a lot not having to do with this, unfortunately. I've been studying for a certification I'm trying to get, for one. For two, I am also just busy with family stuff these past couple months, which is like kind of what December is all about, and for me, January a little bit too. So let's talk about schedule moving forward. What I am thinking, everything is so off kilter. It feels so weird. Let me go ahead and share this. Let's see if this is right. Yeah, and then we'll just move that down. Okay. It's been a minute. I'm not gonna lie. So let me change this. Let's look at calendars. Calendar. Un momento. Perfect. So what I have in my brain, my very, very small brain, to be fair. What I have in my brain is to go ahead and do this on Thursdays and Fridays for surezies, and preferably the rest of the week. I have Dungeons and Dragons on Saturday, so I can't hang out tomorrow. So we have today, which I can go till whenever. What I will probably do is we have a lot of things to talk about. We'll do a lot of D&D today because I kid you not when I say that I have done exactly 0 session prep since the last time we did one of these. So we also haven't played in a while. So we played last week. One of my players was absent, unfortunately. But I had literally not prepped anything after the elemental cave, except for like the description of Umbra, which they got to last session. So I've done nothing, and we're gonna talk about it today. We also have established a lot of stuff in regards to people's backstories, which we'll also go over, which I'm very excited about. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And we will go ahead and go over that today. So we're gonna be talking about the future in my game. We're gonna be talking about my players' future, what their characters are going to go through in the near and kind of far future, as we've kind of developed them a little bit more. I kind of have a better understanding of what their characters are, which is going to be fun. Anyways, calendars. So what we're going to do is we're going to do every day that I can, with Sunday being my off day. Because I do need a day to do reviews for my studying. So we're gonna try to do Thursday, Friday, probably not Saturdays, because I think Saturdays are going to be the days that we do D&D. And then, so Saturday, Sunday are no-go. Monday for surezies, Wednesday and Thursdays for surezies. But Tuesday, I'm going to be gaming with some friends. And I will see if they're okay with me streaming it, question mark? I don't know if I want to. I don't want to flood my friends' lives with basically online presence that they may not want or have accounted for. So I don't know if I will present that to them. I might. We'll see, but I don't think we're going to do Tuesdays. So Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesdays are all going to be off, and then we'll have Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays that we will do these little get-togethers. My plan is probably to do either Wednesday or Thursday. We might do Monday. One of those 3 days, Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday, is going to be D&D campaign. I can't talk, man. Campaign planning. And then we'll do gaming 2 other days. And then we may do some world building some weeks, because I do still want to do more world building. I really like what we ended up getting with the kobolds last time that we talked. It was so much fun. It was a blast. And like I said before, I'm using this as a way to get my focus back into the things that I enjoy and that I care about. So yeah, this is a fun thing for me to do, and I'm going to try not to pressure myself so much to do it, which is kind of what got me down on it in the first place. It's really nice to be able to have a space where I can just like say things and just throw them out into the ether, then maybe I can review them later if I forgot something, or if I'm like, well, what did I mean there? Maybe I talked about it more, I can go back and listen to it. So this is just a fun way of both making a community, which has been really fun so far. The number of people who've joined and had so many fun ideas and things that they liked about the way that I format this it's just really fun. It's really cool to share that with other people. So tomorrow is D&D, which means that I need to plan a session. So that's what we're gonna do today. And we are also going to do some future planning. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start a little list of stuff that we need to get done today. And we're gonna do that based off of the session notes that I have. So let me go ahead and pull those up. Hold. Also, I have 100% forgotten about getting them to do session reviews. So I need to write that down before I get that all, before I forget, because I will. Welcome to my brain. Okay, so we are already, so last time we talked, we had done session 4. This last time we did session 5 and 6. So we did session 5 a very long time ago. I just never watched it and thus did not make any notes on it, which means that we couldn't talk about it. But this time I did some notes on it. So session 3. I need to get a better light. This light hurts my eyes a little bit, if I'm being honest. So we did session 5 and 6, so we need to get down to 5. There it is. Let's go. Why do you say I should be careful with my notes? Okay, so what we did last time. So last time we made our, it's fine, it doesn't matter. Anybody can find anyone on the internet. It's something you kind of learn in cybersecurity. It's no big deal. So, let's talk about this. What we did last time was we made out the elemental puzzle cave that they ended up doing, which was really fun, which is what they did in session 5. But session 5 started out with them in Captain Ahode's captain quarters in the guards tower, and she basically insisted, hey, you guys just came out of this super scary dungeon that nobody's ever gotten out of before. We're gonna check you for possession and curses. She had this little gnome dude come out and check them for curses, and what he ended up finding is that Cass is a werewolf and Ori has some kind of secretive spell on themselves. So what this means is that Captain Ahod now knows that there's a werewolf in her city, who at this point have left because they leave right after this. And she knows that there's somebody with a super powerful, super secretive spell in her city that they don't really know the nature of, because the nature of the spell is to be completely secretive, so the nature of the spell is secretive in and of itself. So that's what we were dealing with last time, and that's where we started. They went back to the cat's meow. They kind of talked about the stuff that they saw, which, if you guys don't remember, what I do for death saves is, if you have a successful death save, you recall a good memory. If you have an unsuccessful death save, then you recall a bad memory. So what we ended up getting was 2 good memories and 1 bad memory. 2 from Cass, a good memory and a bad memory, and then a good memory from Ayla, if I remember correctly. Yeah, because Ayla's was her brother being like, oh, I'm so proud of you, and that kind of stuff. So what they did was they went into Ayla's room. Ori was being paranoid as per usual. They start with Cass, and that was the session where Cass transformed into a werewolf. And that he was born this way, and no one in his family is a werewolf, which we kind of established when we were mapping out backstories way back when, like September, October area. We mapped out his backstory, and turns out his mom probably cheated on his dad, so yikes. So that's a fun little plot. So I'm I'm gonna pull these notes over here real fast. Let's do, hold. Let's do Cass's family as one of our little notes there. So everyone was like, yo, are you in control? And he's like, I was as in control as I ever am, which everyone was like, what does that mean? And he was like, okay, it means I'm in control. I'm sorry, it was a bad joke. So they talk about the flashbacks they all saw. They confirm that they all saw those visions. What I ended up clarifying in these sessions, I can't remember if it was this one or the one before, is that they have never experienced anything like that. I mean, they've seen, of course, and those of them who have been in a bad situation, like may have seen like a flashback of their own memories or what have you, but these guys have never seen other people's memories. That's a little weird. So that's another thing that we need to map out. I have some ideas, but we need to map that out in the future. So we need to talk about why they all saw each other's saving throw flashbacks. Okay. All right. Cass thought that him saying all that was just him dying. He's a little bit of a dumbass, and we love him for it. So Ayla says she's gone down before, but never seen anything like this happened. But she thinks that because they were in the mines where it was this huge, like, magical center where there's like maybe there was a veil between planes that was thinner there, that maybe that's why all of their flashbacks were like mixed up when they went down. Oh, sorry. And Cass is basically like, I don't want to expand on pretty much anything that you guys saw from me. And they were like, yeah, no, that's fair enough. And then Ori asks if anyone else is willing, and Cass says that neither his dad, his bad memory was of his dad like yelling at him for hurting another kid because he was out of control. And then his good memory was of his boyfriend and everything else but name, Ellis, being just them hanging out by a campsite, a little campsite that they'd set up, and just talking, telling stories, drinking, having a good time. And they don't know their name, by the way. They don't know his name is Ellis. And Cass says that neither of those guys are here right now, so we don't need to worry about them. Just doesn't matter. So Ayla talks about her brother Rian and how he's responsible for making her the way that she is. He basically raised her, he trained her. He was the one in her vision who was like, wow, I'm surprised that you've gotten so strong, because that was when she had her vision was of her first burst of magic that came after she'd been having these dreams from Ailestrai, which is the god that she serves, but she doesn't know she served. So Ori is a fun character, I think. So Ori's fun because she comes from a society that does not value other people in the same way that I think a quote-unquote normal human being or person would. So Ori is like, hey, Lise, why did you decide to get the bodies like dog tags and like their wedding rings and stuff like that? And then Lise kind of explains that, whoops. She said it was like a twofold thing. She wanted people to like them when they came back. She wanted people to, she wanted the captain to like them. She wanted them to have a favorable view of their group, for one. And for two, Lisbilda, who lost her whole family when the Honrith Mountains were raised, and her family was just like an unlucky part of that decimation, just unluckily in the wrong place, the wrong time. She kind of explains that it's hard to lose somebody with no real explanation. And she says specifically that it was its own kind of suffering, which it gives us a little window into her backstory, which was really nice. I really loved the way that Alex kind of just explained that. It made it very empathetic and very understandable for somebody who is not used to considering emotion, which is really fun. Ori basically says that it's not silly, just something she hadn't thought of before, in regards to what Lisbilda did. And then Lise is basically like, yeah, I know everybody doesn't want to attack right now, but when you are, I'm here. Everyone says, surely the backstory swap was the cave. Okay. Surely it was just the thin veil and it won't happen again. Surely. So Aleem is standing outside their bedroom, is like, hey guys, I owe you some drinks for betting against you, betting that you wouldn't come back. So Ayla, at the end of the night, Ayla has a dream. Kai asks where she's headed. She says that he says that somebody will find her in Umbra when they get there. And then he kind of drops that little bit of guilt, just a little guilt trip, just right in the noggin, saying hopefully we can depend on you in the future. And she says she'll be taking some time, but yeah, you can. So they all get the long rest. They go to Irene's tower, and Ori, this is actually, I kind of forget that, like, it's really fun being a dungeon master because you get to play so many different kinds of people, especially ones that are so different from yourself. And the way that Irene responded to them being like, yo, I can't say I do it myself, but congratulations on making history, I guess, is probably my favorite thing right now. I love that. So Ori basically pulls her off to the side and is asking for and it's asking for basically a necklace of non-detection. I can't remember if she decided it was a necklace or not. The effects of the non-detection spell. So this also, something that's really fun about the non-detection spell is that it works on all divination spells, which includes divination spells that do damage. So I let her know that, and she just has to keep that, in the back of her mind, because I'm not remembering, for one. That's not my job. They buy some healing potions. Cass looks around. And God, my typing is terrible. Hello. Oops. Boop. He says that he wants to know, all of this dude that he finds knows, and the guy's like, I'm not going to tell you, and then Cass immediately physically assaults him, as you do. And he says that the HQ is in Umbra, and he's like, dude, I'm on the bottom of the totem pole in bumfuck middle of nowhere. I don't know anything else. And so then he just runs off as soon as Cass lets him go. They rest, and then I would love for them to come back, and like, what if the Cat's Meow had like some kind of signage that was about them surviving the shadow creatures? I think that would be really fun. I actually need to type that so that I have that note for later. I'm just gonna copy that and paste. Beautiful. Enter. All right, and on the way to Umbra. So what I've been doing, I think I talked about this last time too. Hold. This PC. I think that I talked about this last time, but what I have, D&D Session 0. So what I have are these Session 0 cards, and actually let me pull up the Megan Cross. Here it is. Session 0 by Megan Cross is basically a bunch of questions that you can ask your players in Session 0 is what it's intended for, to help them build out their backstory and help them give a little bit more body to it as well. What I use it for is we kind of headcanoned that Lisbilda had a whole bunch of, like, my brain isn't working, that had a whole bunch of, like, get to know you cards, and that is what they use during the nights where they're just chilling and hanging out. So these are the ones that we've done so far. Basically, how you feel about money, what makes you angry, do you feel more comfortable alone, Do you believe in a god? And I think we did one more. No, we have not done that one yet. So these are the ones that we've done so far. And these are so fun for, these are so fun for getting your characters to talk about themselves. It's very nice for there to be a character like Lisbilda who is willing to be like, yeah, I have the get to know you cards. Ha ha ha. And then just them all answering it. It's really fun. So on night 1, they ask, what makes you angrier than anything else? Why? Do you have a way to calm yourself? And then Lise and Ayla kind of get this little building moment, this bonding moment of being like, yeah, people who take advantage of other people and will for ignorance and people basically bullying others is just really fucked up and I hate it. And it's really nice to see these characters bonding in a completely different way as well. Ori doesn't like being used and Cass hates to lose a fight, which is he deals with that by winning the fight and he has absolutely zero coping skills. You'll love to see it. So Ori says that she reads poetry to calm down, which is really fun. Lisbilda, we had this whole tangent about steaming pickles by like blowing on fires. It was ridiculous. And then Ayla said she dyes her hair. Everybody in this, every single one of them, no coping skills. None have been to therapy, which makes sense. So, the elemental puzzle cave was where they went next. So I had them answer a question, and then we got to the puzzle cave, and then after the puzzle cave, I had them answer a bunch of questions as well. It was only 2, not a bunch. So the backstory puzzle, was the first one. Let me go ahead and pull this up, actually. Hold. Roll 20. Roll 20. Sign in. Okay, so this is the copied version of it. Cave of the Elements. Oh, never mind. This is not it. This is not the right one. That is the cave, but it's not the, this first puzzle is the problem. 1 second. Launch game. The Cave of the Elements, Part 1. So what we ended up doing, and as you can see, I'm a master artist on this side of the house. Hi, Pupper. She came to visit. So what you see here, what you see here are, 4 circles, and what I did was I assigned them, and I'll get my session notes out on the way to Abra. Stop dicking my arm. Why are you like this? So I had them come up to the sand dune. As they get closer, they see 4 circles drawn into the sand. If they move, they need to move their physical character, was what I did. That was kind of the whole theme for all of these sessions, was if you move, you need to move your character on the thing so that I can have the physical environment react to you as you physically move into it. So they investigate the ruins, they're all on vacation, and then they take a closer look at the circles. So the circles are all the 4 elements, and I kind of did it based off of the traits that you see in, I think it's the zodiac, like earth sign, air sign, water sign, fire sign, that kind of thing. So all of those signs had a few traits assigned to them, and that's kind of what I did to assign them here. So they did a little wander around, and as they did, Hold. They figure out their circles. So they figured out their circles by trial and error, basically. By stepping into certain areas, and then the circle would start glowing. So when they all stepped into the center, all 4 were glowing, but when they stepped into the bigger parts, their circle started glowing brighter. It's kind of how I, gave them the positive feedback for what they were doing. So once they were all there, they did the pedestals. So they needed something that links them to the other person that they share a link with, or that relates to the 2 elements to each other. I decided not to do this part. I did it based on based on the person that they share a link with. So that's where we get into the fun part. Hold. Where did my notes go? On the way to Umbra, don't need that. Timeline. So what they ended up doing was, so Cass and Lisvilda, their 2 brain cells combined, they get right here, and they're surrounding this pedestal, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna spit on it. So they spit on it. They both do. And at first, it didn't do anything, but then they kind of voiced out loud. They're like, well, I mean, we both were willing to spit on this, and then it sunk into the ground. And they were like, oh, our brains. And they're like, well, maybe spitting onto all of these is probably not going to do what we want it to, so let's find some other stuff that we have in common. And actually, Jessie, who plays Ayla, was the one to figure out that they had to have something in common there. And she figured it out before they spat on, on the pedestal. So I love these players, but none of them are confident, and it's driving me insane. But other than that, they're amazing. They're all very considerate people, and we love to see it. But also, I want to see some sharp elbows in this arena. So we'll just kind of go through what they found. Ayla, Ori, and Lise discovered they like music. And so what I had this do was that they are saying surface level, and it doesn't want them to do that. So the first one and the second one are very surface level. And they've both been to the Underdark, and they can't come up with a physical stream. It's a physical thing to put on there. And then they said, can you put your trauma on the pedestal? Put it on your character sheet. I'm over encumbered. It was hilarious. Competent or confident? Confident. None of them are like actually confident in what they say, and it's terrible because they're all so smart, and I don't understand. I was like, Jessie, your brain is humongous. Be more confident. She was like, as you do. So they talk about how they have animalistic traits, these 3, because Ori has wings, Cass is a werewolf, and Lisbilda is a centaur deer elf person. So Lise puts a little bit of her fur down, and then the pedestal sinks lower, and then Lisbilda asks if it's been enjoyable for everybody, and then they say that it's kind of attracted unwanted attention for all of them, and then it sinks into the floor. So a lot of this was very much like them learning basic character traits about each other, and it made it so that 4 characters who very much did not want to reveal anything about themselves were able to find things in common in what felt like a natural way for them as well. So this it actually, when they did detect magic on this place, they saw divination magic on each of the pedestals as well. So they kind of knew that this place knows a little bit more than non-human inanimate objects should know. So moving on. Neither Ori nor Cass thought to retrieve the people's stuff from the mines. So this was really interesting because they kind of saw in each other, and they've actually, there's kind of been 2 pairings, Lisbilda and Ayla, who like care about people. And then Ori and Cass, who care about people, but not before they care about themselves. So for them, it was really cool to see them it was very important to see them have like a connection moment of like, oh, we think the same way. And that's going to be something, I think it builds a little bit of a unspoken bond between two characters to realize that they think in a similar way. And I think, saying think a million times, don't worry. And to have them make that connection is going to be very important as we move forward, because we're already seeing a interesting bonding structure that is happening between these characters. Like, none of them hates each other, and they all relatively like each other for different reasons. But when it comes to, I think what we're going to see in the future is when it comes to moral decisions, Cass and Ori are going to look at each other for support, while Lisbilda and Ayla are going to look at each other for support. And I think that's going to be a very interesting dynamic as we move forward. So let me take a look at something real fast. Okay. Oh, actually, I kind of want to write a note about moral quandaries, question mark. Perfect. And Ori talks about how she's never known the importance of the dead, and Cass hasn't seen much reason to worry about other people's problems like that. And then the thing sinks into the ground. Ori asks what Ayla's time in the Underdark was like. It was difficult, but she's glad she did it. She was there purposefully, while Ori was there because she was essentially... Sorry, I need a blanket. I'm so cold. So she was there because her nanny brought her there, and then she was kidnapped after that. So what Ori put down were manacles, because Ayla went down there to release people, to free people. And Ori ended up being kidnapped and captured while she was down there. So those manacles were like a physical symbol of those two things. So then it sunk into the ground. And then this was where they struggled, which was what they all have in common, and they all have secrets, and so they were like, maybe we could all share a secret. So what they were like, well, we could put down like a blank sheet of paper, put down our trauma, you know, and then they decided to put one of the figurines of Screaming down, which was so... just amazing. It's just like screaming on the inside. And so they all kind of, they all share a secret. And what I did was if I did not find their secret satisfactory, I made it so it didn't work. So Lisbilda talks about when she was young, she lived with her herd, and then this huge event happened where the mountains raised and killed practically everyone she knew, and losing everything was tough as a young child, and her childhood was basically instantly over, and she just didn't have a chance to be a kid, which is something that I think all of them feel, if I'm being honest. I think what we are seeing in terms of the emotional dynamic between these characters, I think that we are seeing a lot of them looking towards Lisbilda for comfort, is what I think we're going to eventually see. Either Ayla or Lisbilda, but I'm pretty sure it's going to turn out to be Lisbilda. So yeah, that's just an emotional view I have. I'm gonna go let my dog out. I'll be right back. Sorry, I was coming. hello, I am back. So cold. And for what? Alright. Where were we? What the? Okay. Cass says he was also from Frio, which is where the Honrith Mountains are. And it wasn't great there for him. He stowed away on a ship to Dakal 15 years ago, and the pedestal was unsatisfied. It only sunk half of what his whole thing would have been. Ayla talks about how her father was a traitor. She knew he turned out to be better than he was, but Ayla felt untrusted and like an outcast. And it kind of sinks, but not enough. Again, I'm looking for, like, when I was talking, when they were all like, well, I don't know what else to share without giving away everything. I'm like, I'm looking for the why. And Ori, she says she ran away from home recently because it wasn't the home she thought it was, or they thought it was. They know little of the world, and through some kind people, she got a bigger scope of what the world is like. Basically discovered what she was taught was about the outside world was not reality. And her home was like not traditionally what you would think of a home. It wasn't a real family to her, and I think that the other players got a sense of how not normal her childhood would have been, how she's obviously like very emotionally distant from pretty much everything, including herself. And that was due to how she was brought up. So I think that was a little key thing that they found here. Cass said that he was basically hoping to go anywhere else. He wasn't wanted, they didn't need another kid, and they certainly didn't need one that was some kind of wolf thing, and he got tired about being locked up and did something about it. So I didn't ask him to share that last little tidbit, but it was really cool that he did. I think at this point, I don't think they were definitely not frustrated with the puzzle, which was really fun. I was very glad that they were not frustrated. They actually very much enjoyed this puzzle. I think they enjoyed all of the puzzles, to be honest. But in this case, I think his character was frustrated being like, yeah, I was just locked up. What about it, you know? Like, just get out of my face about it, dude. And I think that's kind of why that last little tidbit came out. So Ayla had a good friend and a brother to lean on, and there was no home to go back to, which is why she left. Some terrible people came through, burned everything. She lost everything except for Rian and Lilith, and she's been hunting to find these terrible people and stop this from happening to anyone else. We need to talk about Ayla's quest for the paladins that burned down her home. We need to talk about that today. We have so much to talk about. We may not get to it all today. Because I love talking D&D, don't you worry. But it's also really hard to just keep talking and talking and talking. So we may do some gaming later. I also have I've been resisting. I've been wanting to play Kenna Bridge of Spirits. I learned that there are only three spirits that we have to find in there, and and they all have like 3 little side things that you have to do. So I really want to play. But it's a lot, so it's a lot to keep talking. So we may play some of that later. We may play some Valo if somebody invites me, because I found a really cool group of people who enjoy playing. So after the backstory puzzle, we have the regular puzzle cave. What was so fun about the puzzle cave, let me show you, was that they had to, okay, so is it shift click, control click, shift alt click, control alt click? I fucking can't remember, dude. Hold How to be a player in a game. Roll 20. Click. Dynamic lighting. She has to be let back in. Hang on. Get let back. All right. Can't remember what it is. Like, I can't remember what it is, but there's a way to be a to like see what a player sees. But so what they did was they would go through this entire maze and they could not see. So once she got to here, she could not see past this until she dropped her character. And then she could drag herself over here and drop her character. So it was really fun. I had them start down here. And it was really fun to see them. They had, so what they what they ended up doing was they had their like little papers and things, and none of them had a screen where they would be able to like zoom out and just draw over what they saw. So what we ended up with were these amalgamations of lines and tunnels and people trying to remember where they were and where they've been. And then I think 3 of them by the end of it had given up on mapping out the caves, but could remember it well enough to be like, oh, I think to get over to this side, we have to go through this. So it was really fun to see them traverse this cave. It was just such a treat. It was so cool. It was also cool because the dynamic lighting made them so scared to like go around corners and stuff and to go into rooms. It was top tier. It was so much fun. It was really fun for me as a DM to just see them boop, 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 boop. It was so good. So they did the water room, and I kind of did a keeping track of who figured out all of the riddles. And Cass was the one who figured out most of the riddles. Oh yeah. So we did the water room, where they all kind of figured, oh, we gotta plug these drains, get up there. They found the final room, which was that center room, because I had the water room go up to a doorway at the top where they could go through. And then they were like, well, my map's fucked now because I can't go, like I have to go to the middle and then draw out from there instead of drawing to the side. Like, you went to the water room first. I don't know what to tell you. And then they kind of understood that they have to finish the other elemental rooms. They finished the earth room, which was this bad boy up here. That was the movement puzzle that I was so excited about. They did the key room down here. They did the statue room in here. They did the air room down on the bottom right. And they wandered around for a little while and found this 3rd riddle room right here. Out of the 3 on the side. And then what was so funny is, like, if you look here, this riddle room is completely blocked off from the rest of the map. So what they ended up having to do was they went around here to the right and then down and then came around here and then they ended up here. So what they had to do was find their way all the way back over here in order to get to up here and to the right. It was so funny to just watch them. Oh wait, no, this is that way. Oh, this is that room. We gotta go the other way. It was just so fun. It was such a blast. I asked them if they wanted me to drop them at the top of the map, and they were like, no, we gotta find our way through. I was like, okay, fine. So they went to the sunroom where they got a little bit of, lore. Let me pull it up. Okay. The sunroom. So tell the story of our ruler in just 4 words, which we've talked about this before. This is a depiction of the first arcane magic user, who is actually the ruler of Tikal, going and defeating one of the what are they called? The Titans. They're not called Titans. They're called I can't remember. The giant elementals, basically. So she fought this dust devil thing, which was fun for me, because their first session was them fighting some dust elementals, which are not natural. They have a little bit of demonicness in them. So we see, so it went waves, which was her stepping out of the ocean. They had music, which is her showing her as a bard in the town square. Titan, where she faced the giant sandy figure, and then the Marvel, where the city is celebrating her. And here she has remained for the past, I think it's like 15 or 1800 years, somewhere in there. Since the Arcane Ascension ended. So they got that little bit of lore, which is also fun because we'll talk about that later. So they wander a bit to get to the final room. Oh, they did the riddle rooms as well, the fire room. They decided to dispel the light, and I was like, hey, did you guys want to know how else you could figure that out? And they did, and we talked about it. It was really fun. They wandered a bit to find the final room, and then what I decided to do, instead of giving them the manual of quick action, I decided to give them proficiency in either investigation or perception. If they had one, then they chose the other, or if they didn't have either, they could choose between the two. And the reason I did that was because this maze kind of blatantly showed that their weakness is wisdom and intelligence in this group. Oh, sorry, tired. And the one person who does have a high wisdom score she just rolls terrible rolls. It's absolutely obscene. So I decided to just give them that tad little bit of a boost so that they wouldn't be completely useless when doing stuff on their own. So yeah, that was a decision I'd made. I kind of want to do this again, but like let them choose a expertise maybe, or maybe a proficiency of their choice or something like that. I think that would be really fun. Okay, they got out of it and it kind of sunk into the ground. They made an Avatar reference, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I was like, I didn't even think about that. You're so right, and I love Avatar, so I'm disappointed in myself for not figuring that shit out. Also, in the middle of this, before the third riddle room, that is where we kind of had a new session start. And this was where the player for Lisbilda, Alex, she was not in this session. So unfortunately, I was not super comfortable moving on to the stuff that I had planned for them. And that is them meeting the golden-eyed stranger that they're going to meet, which 3 of my players are going to recognize from their previous campaign, but is not going to be someone that they're going to know in-game, which will be a fun little dynamic, I think. So what we decided to do was they would go to Umbra and then do a little like side quest or something without Alex, and then we would come back with Alex and do something a little bit more fun. So we did a couple of questions, which of course includes Lisbilda, which we're gonna get tomorrow because the next session is tomorrow. So do you feel more comfortable alone or in a crowd, and does that change? Ori and Cass were both like, I want to go it alone. And Alo is like, being in a group makes you stronger. It like you have people to support you, and there's safety in numbers. And of course she wants people she can trust, and it changes the dynamic a little bit, but she does prefer a group. And she seeks them out is something that she actually said, which was really cool to see. Two characters who have never really sought out personal connection aside from just like chance happenings in their background. So it was in their backstory, sorry. So it was really cool to see them witness somebody who actually seeks that out, which I think would be a rarity for them. And then night 3, we had them, do you follow a god or a higher power? Have you always? Has your relationship with them changed? And are there any gods you favor? I added this little bit. So in this world, it's like, the gods are so involved that if you don't believe in them, you're a little bit of an idiot. Or at the very least, willfully ignorant. And so what you will often find in worlds like these are people using the gods as casual, just casually interwoven into their lives. So like you could be like Avandra's luck to you, you could be like blessings of Ioun for your studying. You could like, we kind of talked about this actually, was you may not follow Ioun every day, but goddamn, when you have a test to study for, do you pray to her? Like that kind of stuff. And it's not, I don't know if everybody, I think probably the big diversifying point of the gods would be people who believe the gods actually will influence them personally and people who don't. So people who know that the gods will influence them personally are like clerics, and then there's like the general masses that are in those two dividing lines, I think. So Cass never bothered with it. He probably favors Avandra in terms of her luck powers. Ayla, she's trying to figure out what higher power is connected to her. She's a big fan of those who work in the dark, like Sehanine and the Raven Queen, and they kind of have like gray areas of their reality. And then she's cautious of this new higher power because it got her her previous adventuring group hurt, which we know from her backstory. So her dreams seem different from before, and we kind of talked about this a little bit, that they have been very vague to the point that she can't tell if she's dreaming or if she's having visions. Ori talks about how she believes in them, and they don't believe that they're great beings. They don't believe that these greater beings of power favor them in any way, and they believe that, Ori believes that, the gods won't give without taking a little. So she doesn't see the kindness without a cost or a price, and doesn't often trust being given something good without having to give something back. And they don't favor any of the gods. And we know from her backstory that a lot of her family and a lot of the people in her, well, everybody in her community that she came from, has a deal with some kind of greater being, that we also have to talk about that. So, Ori's community. So we will talk about that as well. I'm so excited! We're gonna have so much fun over the next couple of weeks. And then we'll get Least Build's answer later. The day before they make it to Umbra, we give Ayla a little dream that she hasn't seen before. It feels like the other ones, it feels like something bigger, but it doesn't feel like someone in need akin to a revelation, but like in a dimmed sort of way. I can't think of a good word aside from revelation. Revelation fits the most. But it's like, it's just a dimmed feeling of that, you know? So she feels like she saw something she almost wasn't supposed to see. So what she saw is the goddess Eilithrai, which is a goddess who has remained hidden for millennia at this point, since the War of the Cosmos. Yeah, since the War of the Cosmos, she would have been the... Sorry. She would have been hidden from her mother, Lolth, who wants to destroy her, because Eilithrai is the one sending people to free people from Lolth's influence. So a little risky for Eilithrai, but she's giving... But basically what Eilithrai's goal in sending her this vision is giving her not a name to a face, because she has no name and she has no face. She just has a silvered eye, basically. But she sees that there is something greater. There is. She just does not know what it is, and she can't pinpoint whether or not that is something that she can grasp onto. So yeah, it's just a little fun tidbit. So they go to Ambra, and Ambra is one of my favorite cities I've created. I love it so much. So what Ambra does is, you see this, like, the side view of Ambra is like, you see this city, and then you see it kind of go at a downward slope, like the rooftops and everything go in a downward slope into the ocean. And then you get merfolk, which we'll get into in a second. So they see the guards who kind of walk in and out of the water along the city walls. And they kind of, and you see that these people are all waiting in a long line into the entrance of the city. So a guard stops them, asks their business, and they are given papers. So they answer very suspiciously, but just because Ori's the one who answered, and nobody stopped her for some godforsaken reason. Ori was the one who answered and was like, yeah, we don't know the job, we don't know the person. And then the guard is like, do you have any ill intentions to the city or the people in it? And they're like, no, don't worry about it. So they're given papers. They are marked as suspicious people, descriptions written down, and the papers they were given are marked with tracking spells. So the players don't know this, but this is what they have on their person right now, are these tracking spells. They recall that Seeger, who is somebody they met in their first session, has a house here, so they may end up taking advantage of that. And they enter the city, they get a flyer for the Museum of Maelstrom. Cass, ever with the bright ideas, says it's boring. They go to, and the Museum of Maelstrom is about, and has relics from, the War of the Cosmos. Ooh. Museum. Okay, I just had a fun idea for what we can do. Dude, my voice is already giving out. For what? So they go to the shoreline where they see mer people laying there. They also see casters who are taking money in exchange for water breathing. Tadria is the one who casts on them, and I forgot to write down that is... Can I type? Hello? 1 silver piece. I'm struggling today. One silver piece to do so. So... yeah. They have a guide who... and what I did... And it was, like, I love doing stupid things that you would probably find in real life. Just put into my world. It makes it just a little bit more fun. So what they had was basically, like, a college tour guide person being like, all right, everybody, so I understand this is everyone's first time. Can you go ahead and raise your hand if this is your first time? And like basically college tourisming them through breathing in water and allowing their lungs to adjust to taking the water from the oxygen from the water, and like just letting their body get used to that. They decide to split off and they go to the Drunken Treasure Inn Tavern and Inn. Where did I put those books? Am I wildin'? Hang on, they're back here. So what I got were the Twisted Taverns books, and so I did not read this before the session because I didn't think that they were gonna get this far. If I'm going to be honest, I didn't think that they would get into the water today, but they did. So I didn't actually read the book, but I had a good time, nevertheless, going with the idea of one of the places. Hang on, let me pull it up. Page 154, if I remember correctly. Yes, sir. The Drunken Treasure, which, as you can see, has a giant turtle, not little turtle, not at all. Has a giant turtle with a castle on its back. And it is my favorite thing. So what I ended up doing was not reading this at all, just taking inspiration from it. The menu! I'm so sad. These are all boring, actually. Never mind, I'm not sad anymore. They're okay. We had a hard time because the naming, we looked up like alcohols named after the ocean and stuff, and all of the drink names were boring. They were all just like very uninspired, and unfortunately I just don't know enough alcohol terms to my voice is dying, it's been so long, to actually make any up. So we were all just making up our own. It was really fun. And so what I ended up doing for this was that the dragon turtle has a castle on his back. His name is Saron, and what I did was I made it so that Saron, oh my god, this is my favorite thing. Saron literally is just the owner of this. Hang on, sure. Drunken Treasure, and then Saron. So he owns and carries the Drunken Treasure on his back. And what he does is he gets rich off of this, right? And then he goes and he trades it for like jewels and things. And the Council of Umbra gives him fake shinies so that he has his hoard and he won't be taking money out of the actual economy. It's so much fun. I love it. So, Lilane, the barkeep, kind of tells them all this, and they do have, like, little Capri Sun freshwater pouches. I was thinking about how freshwater would be a thing that people would get pretty easily here, and I was like, Capri Sun. But, like, you know, vacuum sealed. So, Ori looks for the job board, and they kind of take a detour, and, you know, I had to do it to them. You know I had to. So what we did, actually, something that I forgot to mention is that a lot of the animals, actually all of the animals in this space are intelligent. And we actually need to talk about why that is, why the animals are intelligent. So I think that it is some kind of magical source, like in this area of the water that has like a radius type thing. So all animals in this space, not all animals, all underwater animals, because I'm not about to make everybody intelligent, I'm sorry. All the underwater animals have a higher intelligence than normal, like fish and stuff would. So they all are like people under Umbra law. So we kind of established earlier that Cass tried to fish when he first got to the city like a few years ago because he's been here before, and he got caught and had to take a class on like the intelligent marine life near the city, and he knows that like the fish can understand common but don't have the vocal cords to respond, that kind of stuff. Merfolk know this language. It's very difficult to learn if you're not raised for it because they're fish. So, what we have were underwater, were like people, I went full, like, I went full Barbie, man. I went full Barbie. They have like jewelry and coverings and skirts and decorations and stuff for their tails. And there is a shop for swimming gear for landlubbers. So in this swimming gear shop, what we had was the jewelry of water breathing, which was 500 gold, which of course it has to be insanely expensive. Otherwise you have the shore casters get pissed at you being like, yo, you're taking away our livelihood for dimes on the dollar, you know? So this dude who I decided to make this place called Gills, Fins, and Fun, and I didn't say this in game, I came up with this after the game, so I should have come up with something better, but I enjoy this. So, what Gil does is he uses the transmutation spell Fabricate to make custom tails for people with legs for 20 gold pieces. So they all got these fancy little tails, and what we ended up doing, hold on. Hold. I got distracted. My brain is so small. So what we did was we were like trying to figure out what Lisbilda's would look like. And we were like, there's these, so you see these like seahorse centaur things, but most of them have, that's not right. Most of them have like their body like smooths down into a tail, you know? But that wouldn't work for somebody with horse legs, because they would, like, if you had these legs on the back, it would, like, horse legs don't swim like this, you know? They don't do that. So you're thinking maybe this? And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna resign myself to not being, for it to just be fun instead of realistic. Because I have a feeling she's probably gonna go for something like this, but this is probably what a horse-like figure swimming in under the ocean would end up going for, would be these fins on the individual hooves. So we'll see what she decides. So yeah, Cass ended up getting a shark tail, and my man, we go like 10 minutes later, and Oliver, who plays Cass, is like, you know, I just kind of realized that he probably wouldn't be able to swim because shark tails go from side to side and human legs just don't work like that, really. It's mostly non-functional. And he's like, I don't think Cass would notice. I was like, yeah, I kind of thought about that, but I feel like and I just kind of had resolved to not thinking about it too hard. And I was like, but I think the shopkeeper probably would have pointed it out. And then Cass was like, no, I just, I want this. I want a shark tail. Like, just make it for me. And the guy's like, okay, 20 gold for me, easy peasy. And so he makes the shark tail for him. And then when they leave, some shark merfolk are like, hey, that's our boy. And then Cass immediately thinks that they're like flirting with him, of course. And he's like, he has this stupid cloak of the manta ray that when you pull the hood up, it like forms like a bubble around your face so you can breathe. And I just imagine that these merfolk are like, him and his like non-functional shark tail and his stupid manta ray thing that lets him swim at a normal speed, and they're like, I want that one. It's just so good. It's so good. So they move on to the quest that they got from the job board. And they meet a dude named Salinus, and the way that I described him apparently made the entire room just stare at Oliver because it was such his type. It was so good. So Salinus, I decided that he's a descendant of the original arcane caster. Maybe not like their descendant, like the caster's descendant, but like a sibling of the caster or something like that, you know, part of that family. So he says he knows where it is. They found it using a lost object spell. Cast as a wedding ring check. I kind of talk about how I think that these mermaids would not find jewelry to be very I don't think that they would use wedding rings. I think something more fun is in order. So I decided that they have a large tattooing culture. And I think that a lot of merfolk would probably get a tattoo that meant something to them in a place that meant something to them. So what a lot of merfolk probably do, and I don't think that any of these people would know, any of the players in the group would know this, any of the characters in our player group would know this, but I think that they would probably get tattoos on the place where their significant other first touched them. So if the first time they touched, they held hands, they would probably get it on their palm. Or if the first time they met, they dropped something and somebody grabbed their shoulder, they would probably get the tattoo on their shoulder or something like that. So I think that would be something that would be just a very, very personal thing to a mer person, would be hard to spot. And then Cass could not get a read. Cass could not get a read. Yeah. Oh, my favorite thing about underwater societies has always been music. We can't hear it because the change from water to air changes how you hear, but the ocean is loud. Sound travels 5 times as fast in water as it does in air. So if you're accustomed to living in the water, you can hear sounds for miles in every direction. That's so interesting. I wonder, is there like a scientific term for that? That's so interesting. Sound travel faster in air or water. Primarily dependent upon the ocean temperature and pressure. Is there a word for that? Sound waves refract downward when whale sound travels. Interesting. That's so cool. I really like that. We may have to talk about that. Oh, it's so fun. That is so fun. Singing songs from entire cities away. That's so cool. I've always envisioned the seas of intelligent peoples to be full of song all the time. Wouldn't you? Don't you think that would get very, very overwhelming though, for them? I feel like being able to hear from so far away, I feel like they would be more quiet. I guess if they're used to it, it doesn't really matter. So. Okay, let me put this to the side. Okay. So Salinas warns them of the dangers of that part of the ocean. Talks about intelligent fish folk who choose to be bad people. What I'm planning on having in there is sharks, just like, you know, evil sharks, as you do. We must. We love the sharks, but we also hate them. They're so fucking scary, dude. They have so many rows of teeth, and for what? For what reason? Do the lights in your town ever turn off? Have you become accustomed to there being street lamps and neon signs at every hour of the day? Actually, I I have blackout curtains, and a lot of people do actually because of that very problem. Because human brains have developed to not be used to how much light that we have nowadays. So a lot of people have, and I have blackout curtains because I sleep during the day, not at night, for one. But also it's hard for me to go to sleep when there's a light that is shining onto me. Like, not necessarily a light in the area, but if it's shining onto me, it's hard for me, personally, to be used to it. But that's not something that a lot of people in my life experience, at least. So the answer is yes, but because the answer is it does bug me, but that's not everybody's experience. So I think that there would probably be a culture of like having sound dampening protections around your house and things. That would be so interesting. I'm sure the noise would annoy someone. Yeah, probably. But they probably also have to get used to like whale calls and stuff like that. Anyways, I got distracted. So he says it's about 2 days travel. He offers them rings of water breathing, and Ori offers the figurine of screaming. And this poor man rolled so low. He rolled like a 4. He's so gullible. God damn it. So he's like, are you sure you can part with it? And she's like, yeah, it'll be fine. We'll get it back when we come back. And then Ori unattunes to the amulet of non-detection, which is very interesting because if she's gonna do that, I'm gonna put consequences for it. Anyways, consequences for the non-detection amulet being taken off. Can I spell? The answer is no. There we go. Zamulet. There we go. So I was like, wow, you guys are just giving him the figurine of screaming, gonna go off with his little golden comb that has been in the family for generations, and his water breathing jewelry, and just like, you know, swim off into the oblivion. And then Cass is like, we are not scamming this man. And I was like, okay, perfect, works for me. So Oliver, in true form, I know this place like the back of my hand, and in the shadow creatures one, I got loads of hit points, which is something that we say all the time now. It's so fun. On the way to the cavern, so they are getting used to breathing underwater. It's very uncomfortable. They reach the cavern, and there's these strands of kelp that are covering the inside. They are covering the entrance. They try to listen inside, and they hear some like little wispy movements, but nothing. And it doesn't sound like it should be happening this deep, at least. But it's not anything that they can like pinpoint a vibe to. They can't figure out if it's a creature or what have you. So the water is not very oxygen rich this deep, which is going to mean that they're going to tire out faster. So if they spend like the entire next session in it, I'm gonna be like, hey, I need you guys to roll, like in our session after next session, I'm gonna be like, hey, I need you guys to roll Constitution saving throws because you're getting tired. Ayla does some magic-y stuff. The Ring of Spell Storing has various telepathic bond. They swim into the kelp. And the kelp kind of reaches around them and begins pulling them under. And this is like a big struggle for a while. And that's how we end the session. And now we are getting them into the cavern. So we need to do the cavern stuff, which I don't want to make any maps for because I'm feeling lazy. I just want to do Theater of the Mind. And yeah, so those were the 2 sessions that we did. They were chonkers, man. So let's save. let me go ahead and D&D area groups, to call group, session notes. Session 6. The cavern. So we have a couple of things that we gotta do today. The cavern. Also, not to get sidetracked, but I saw Strange World, the new Disney movie, and it's so good. I saw precisely one ad for it after it was out of theaters, and I'm so sad I did not see it sooner because it's so good. Okay, so let's take a look at this. What we need to do today. What we need to do today is figure out what we need to make a priority on. So the cavern's priority 1, it's not going to take us very long. Because it is going to be, it's supposed to be a side quest. It's not a big thing. And it's going to be a little bit of a lore thing because of that comb. The comb is going to be the ruler of DeKal's comb. Because it's in the pictures. So what on the way to Umbra, we did the key room, the sun room. So in Waves, there is a figure with a golden comb that she made for herself. So I'm actually, let's talk about also the ruler of DeKal. I do want to make like her character. Edwin, it's been a million years. Hi. Hello. Isn't it super early for you? Oh my god. Is it super early or super late for you? I can't remember. You said you're from Denmark, right? Anyways. Also, there's a huge delay for some reason on my OBS, and I am sorry. So I'm going to fix that next time. 6:30 in the morning. Okay, so not, it's early, but not like ungodly early, you know? How's it going? How's it been? How have you been? It's been a million years. So we have the rule of DeKal, so we need to do like a character, not analysis, but a character overview for them, sorry. And then we also, early for a weekend, oh yeah, it's Friday today, huh? So it's Saturday for you. Why are you up so early? Just natural clock? Okay, so we need to talk about the rule of DeKal, the character overview. And as part of that, yeah, we'll do a character overview. We'll do like what they look like. We're gonna do we're gonna do a little bit of their personality. We'll do stuff like that for the ruler of DeKal. And then once we do those two things, we need to talk about the stranger that the group is meeting. So this is the person that Irene sent them to, my voice is failing me. This is the stranger that that Irene sent them to meet, to get a job from. So we're gonna be talking about that. I'll actually put /job. That was not a slash. Hello? I kind of. So this was actually what I was talking about. when I put the Museum of Maelstrom here. I kind of want them to have to steal something from the museum. I think that would be fun. Question mark, question mark, question mark. I think that might be fun. And then let's see here. So after we do those things, we kind of need to do let's do some establishing overview. And what we will do here is talk about the big things that aren't going to take very long, but they are important to establish. So why they saw each other's saving throw flashbacks. Ooh, that one's going to be interesting. Why the animals are intelligent. Whoops. And consequences for the non-detection. We gotta talk about those 3 things. Those are gonna be pretty quick. Players planning to plan a heist. I think that would be super interesting, because they are all very much like, they don't want to do stuff like that. So I think it will provide an interesting moral dilemma for them, for one. And I think that especially will give them a little bit of character development in terms of the relationship between, basically what we're seeing in this group are 2 sides of the moral compass. And we're seeing 2 people who really care about other people and 2 people who don't particularly care about other people, except for well, they care about other people, but only in the safety of other people, and not necessarily about like how they feel, if that makes sense, and about whether stuff is right or wrong. They're not too concerned about that. So we're seeing these 2 sides, I think, emerging, and I think that this will divide them slightly, but I think they will eventually decide to do it, because we'll talk about that. We'll talk about it in a second. So we need to do an establishing an overview. I kind of want to do bigger descriptions. Whoop. Bop. So we need to do Cass's family in that category. We need to do, and well, moral quandaries is already taken care of with some of this stuff. So actually, I kind of want to add this to the overview. Ori's community is important as well. And actually, as part of that, I kind of want to do a consequences. I take it back. So we'll do that. And then we'll just bing, bang, bap, boop. Bloop. There we go. We'll do that. And then Ayla's quest. So these are going to be bigger things that we need to look at. And then I kind of want to talk about, maybe we'll do this in the establishing overview. So we're going to talk about these things. Maybe not today. We'll probably get to some of them today. But we do need to establish all of this. I'm going to be honest. This little cavern side quest, while interesting, does not excite me. It doesn't excite me. It's going to be a very side questy thing. It's going to be very much, you're going to fight stuff. You're going to find stuff. You're going to maybe get a couple of jewels out of it. Easy peasy. type situation. So basically what we have to do for this cavern are find enemies, and that's what we're gonna do. So let's take a look at D&D, nope, wrong one, D&D sessions. We'll add a folder. We will call this folder cavern. Actually, no, let's do side. Let's just do tabs. We'll call it tabs. And then we'll do that stuff. Yeah, so what we'll do, I want to do giant shark 5e. Yes. This is a CR. I'm blind. Help. CR 5. It's a little higher than I wanted. But not, I don't think this will be hard for them. So what I kind of have a philosophy on is I hate running boring stuff. So I kind of make my players a little overpowered, knowing that they're going to be able to handle whatever I throw at them. At this moment, they are level 8. Is it 7 or 8? No, they're 8. They were 8 after the shadow creatures. So they leveled up 2 sessions ago. They're going to have, I believe, 2 4th level spells, so they should be fine in terms of dealing with this and something bigger that I want as well. So we'll do the giant sharks are gonna be fun. The hit points I may lower depending on how many. Hello, Ashir, how are you doing? How's it going? We're talking about an underwater cavern that they're going to retrieve an item from. And it looks like OBS is not lagging anymore, which is nice. So I can finally talk relatively close to where I'm seeing these messages. So what we're looking at are giant sharks, which is what I want their first thing to be. I want them to fight some sharks, because that's what we do in this household. And I just woke up. Nice. I am also tired. But that's because I've been sleep deprived for the past 2 days. So that's how it goes. So what we need to do is find a big bad. So what we need is something relatively intelligent, or something that is intelligent because of the... So in this underwater area, we are seeing a... We're seeing a few... Sorry, my brain is not working. We are seeing in this area, there's a spherical magical influence on intelligent creatures. So all of the fish in this underwater life are intelligent as humans. And they speak to the merfolk as if they were humans, but using a different language because they just literally don't have vocal cords. So I want something that we can either make intelligent because of that, or that is already intelligent and is using these other lesser, quote unquote, fish to do its bidding. So let's do underwater monsters 5e. Resume my journey. I must have done this a while ago. We need something that is in their CR, so 8 or below, preferably. We could do something bigger and just, like, dumb it down a little bit for their challenge rating. The dragon turtle. The kuatoa. Mareed. Piscine-looking genie. Mirror. An animal or something aquatic. I don't mind either, I think. I'm okay with the big bad being something that exists naturally and is just intelligent. Not the big bad, sorry. The bad guy in this little cavern. Being something that exists IRL and just being intelligent in this space. But it does need to be something that is capable of stealing. Perhaps something that is capable of that is capable of blending in. Octopus would be nice, maybe? The marine. Why? Piscine looking genie. It's a little too high, I think. I also don't really want to face them up against a genie. The Sarin, okay. So 5e. That might be a good idea. No thanks. No thanks. Okay, so we have, ooh, shark telepathy. That works. This is perfect. Some kind of moray eel. Ooh, eel 5e. Giant lightning eel. Giant eel 5e. Ooh. Challenge 2. Oh, maybe we could do something where they go into a room and it's like there's kelp along the sides, but it's not kelp. It's a giant eel. I think that might be fun. Just have them face a couple of those. Eel 5e. Ooh, my storytelling brain is just going off. Like they just hear a little of the electricity as they're going through the space, and it's just like a little creepy. It's nice. Ooh, I like it. Don't show me this. Okay. Everything on the site is 50% off. Just a heads up. Apparently. All the PDFs. What's the R? 1/4? It would be fun. Then we could see what a fireball does underwater, because I know my players have that. I think that would be fun. And then maybe the Seguin. I always say Gween instead of like Geen. I kind of like this, actually. I kind of like this. I'm not gonna lie. The question is, do we make them... Hang on. So the cavern. First room. 2 giant sharks. Second room. A hallway. And I kind of want to leave this a little open-ended so that I can give them, like, a certain number of eels based on how well they do against the sharks, and then when they get into the final room, it'll be a couple of sharks and the Seguin. So let's do shark 5e. Just a regular shark. This one is challenge 2 as well. Oh, this one's challenge 5. Okay, perfect. So maybe we do the hunter sharks first. We do the eels, and then we have 2 giant sharks in with the Seguin, who are challenge 1/2. So maybe he's a caster? A caster? I like that. Second room, a hallway of... Oh, I need to bring this over here. A hallway of hills. Let's do 4 hunter shark. Gunter. Hello. I can't spell. A hallway of eels, and then a third room, or third area is probably more accurate, is a caster, again, and 2 giant sharks. We'll probably give the Sagin a little bit more health. So what we'll do is we'll have the sharks get up in their face, so they have to deal with the sharks first, and then we will bring in the Sagin. I'll just say this a million different ways, and they will all be wrong. Every last one of them will be wrong. We'll bring in we'll have the 2 sharks keep them busy, and then the Sagin will be in the back casting spells against them. Maybe we could do some possession, be like some dominate person. We'll go for one of the ones who have a low wisdom. It'll be good. It'll be so fun. And then in that room, we'll see this little caster having having some jewels and things. Maybe some, ooh, you know what we should do? We should look at spells and, hang on. Edition spellbook. Okay. We'll let that pull up. It'll pull up. It'll take a second. There it is. It's loading up. So we'll get some of those items from like spells and stuff that maybe our cleric has. Maybe some diamonds. Maybe something a little bit more bard or sorcerer-y. Something that they could use. And then we'll also do either stuff that they can sell or like jewels that they can use. So. Hold. Dispel magic to dispel water breathing. Oh my god, Edwin, you're a genius. Okay, but they have like rings of water breathing. So what happens when you dispel? What happens when you dispel a item 5e? Dispel magic can end a magical effect cast by a magical item. It can, however, not affect the magic item itself, and then list some details and example. Page 15. Doesn't interrupt the functioning of magical permanent items, though it can dispel the effect. So the issue is if I... Yeah, I unfortunately... I think maybe what we could do is some kind of like control water where the water is taken out of their lungs. But that would be something that they could use against me, which is not something I want to introduce. So we're not gonna do that. It's a very fine line between coming up with creative ways to fuck up my players' lives and them doing the same exact thing to me. I don't want that. And of course I want to be fair to my players, but yeah, they do have items for it. So unfortunately. Okay. Let's look at some spells. Oh! Cool. All spells. Contingency. Oh, this is for my character. So what if we made a new spell book? All spells for material purposes. Alrighty, add class. Okay, save. All spells. So we'll go here. Oh god, that's gonna take forever and a half. Okay, we'll do this. Material. Oh, it only includes material. Okay, blah, blah, blah. There we go. Woohoo! Interesting. Okay. Hold. This is gonna take a minute, I'm sorry. I'm sure this doesn't have all of them, but this will at least give us some ideas of what we can get them. Ah! Did it really? There we go. Not me just clicking things. ASMR. Spell selection. Okay. Let's take a look. Powdered silver. Diamond. Diamond is definitely one. Let me go ahead and blah blah blah. So we'll do rewards. Diamond worth 500 gold pieces. Pearls, you're right. Pearls, pearls. Bag of pearls worth like 200. 200. Give them a nice little salary to go off of. 10 gold pieces worth of charcoal, incense, pearl worth 100 gold pieces. Gold dust. Who can cast Arcane Lock? Arcane Lock is second spell. Oh, it's a wizard. Oh, that's boring. Pearl, gold dust. Ruby dust. A white pearl. Oh. I don't... So... The answer is probably yes, you do need coral, but 5e replaces all things that are not worth like a gold equivalent. Or that like things that have to be fresh, like fresh blood or something like that. It replaces all of those with your arcane focus. So, or with a spell component pouch. So, bag of pills. Bag of white pearls. Who can cast Fortune's Favor, bruh? Is it wizards again? It's wizards! Alright, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I love wizards, and my players, none of them being wizards, physically pains me. It's just so much fun. I want a wizard. But it's okay. I'll survive. Don't worry. Sticks, bones, similar tokens, ruby dust, white pearl, honeycomb, jade dust, gold dust, a gilded acorn, god damn! Okay, let's change this to cleric. And we'll just use this. Continual Flame is something that clerics can cast. I didn't know that. Clairvoyance. Oh. Clairvoyance. Glyph of Warding might be something that we want to give them items for. Magic Circle. Non-detection. Revivify. So maybe we do Glyph of Warding, Magic Circle. Incense and powdered diamond. A mix of incense and powdered diamond worth 100 gold. Can I type? 100 gold. Okay. So we got magic circle in there and maybe like 1 or 2 more. Non-detection. Diamond dust. Summon Fae. They can't do that though, right? Divination, yeah. Oh, divination requires stuff. Ooh, okay. Divination. Incense. Ooh, 25 good pieces of incense. Shadow of Moil. Diamond dust. Ooh. I love that image. I love it. Sunburst pendant worth 100 gold pieces. Okay. I think this is pretty good. I think this is pretty good. They'll probably sell the pearls because they can't really use them. They'll probably keep the diamond. They'll probably sell this either because they don't realize that it could be a magic component or because they don't want to use that spell. And then they will probably sell the Sunburst pendant, even though I'm pretty sure the cleric can cast it. And then they will probably keep the incense. It'll be interesting. Okay, and then we'll give them just like a mixed bag of jewels worth 300, 200, 200. Yeah. We'll do that. I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. Pretty decent in terms of fighting all of these bad boys. Alrighty. So, we've got the cavern done. There it is. Oh, I'm so excited. We're gonna do the character overview for the ruler. I still don't know what I want to name her. We'll probably have to go to like a baby naming site or something. NPCs. Monsters. New. Ugh. Offline notes, PC stuff, roll 20. Okay, yeah. NPCs. New folder. We'll do... NPC over... we'll do significant. Can I spell? Significant, NPCs. Sorry, my mic cord is also, like, in the way of me typing. I'm trying to move it to the side, but it doesn't really work. Okay, so let's go ahead and get a character card in here. Hold up. Hold up. D&D. Character sheets? This is right. Does this have all 3? It does. I'm very excited. We'll copy and pasta that. No, cancel. Then we will copy and pasta it again. But we will do this as the Call's ruler, which we have not named yet. Oh, I can't put a question mark. So we'll just do DeKal's ruler and leave that for later. Okay, so let's see. Let me go to my classic baby naming site. So my players know this about me, is that I can come up with the most extravagant, mind-boggling backstory in about 10 minutes. And I can come up with it on the spot. I can come up with it before session, but I never assign a name for some godforsaken reason. And they will eventually come across this character and need to know a name. So we're going to give it to them. I wish there was a way that you could, like, exclude certain types of names. Sakar. They feel like a Z character, you know? Maybe I'll name them later. Neutral only. Yes. Zenis? Zilia? Kind of like that. Zia? Zunida. Zunida. Kind of like that, I'm not gonna lie. Baby name saves me every time. It does. It's also nice. Like, I like this one. Because when you're searching for names, you can also look for, like, specific, sorry, my brain is so small, dude. You can also look for specific, like, cultures names, which is really cool. So if you have a part of your world that is based on a certain location and like is influenced by a certain location that exists in the real world, you can go to that location and be like, this is the type of names that these people would be called, and it's really cool. I think it's really fun. I think this will be the first character that I have named before they, is this the first one? It can't be, there's no way. It might be the first character that I have not named on the fly. So, we'll see. Zunita? Zaraya, I kind of like that, actually. I like that a lot. Oh. Zephyr, Zajak, Zahari, Zendolfin, Zavian, Zebaya, Zebediah. It's like Zebaya. Help. My brain is full of rot, Your Honor. Are there not multiple pages? This is all the Z names? God damn. All the neutral Z names. We'll do all. Oh, it does have a next. Okay. The thing is, when you go into more gender neutral on like baby naming sites, you get more interesting names instead of just like friggin' Zach. Zana? Zania. Kind of like that actually. Rama. I only know German names, but as soon as I write in English, I have no idea what I'm doing. Amazing. Oh my god. I have to sneeze, but not really. I'm in that hellish purgatory between sneezing and not sneezing. Zeki? Oh, you know what culture has very interesting, hello? That has very interesting, origin, all nationalities. It's, African names have a lot of very interesting Z names. Let's see. kind of like that. It feels powerful. It feels powerful. Hello? There we go. I like that a lot. Zakwani? Zakar? Zandale. Netta. I can't name someone Gretchen when nobody who doesn't speak German can't pronounce it. Really? That's so interesting. I assume I said it wrong then. Oh, you know what I did not do is move up my chat so that you guys can actually see it. Which chat? Question mark. Is that right? There we go. Look at that. It's been a long time, guys. I don't know. It's been a million years since I've done that. Nobody can pronounce it. That's so interesting. Okay, I will have to deep dive into that later because I'm so curious how it's pronounced. Is it just said with an accent that's not native to us? Zealand, Zebedee, Zebulon, Zephram. Zenith. Zeneveve. This one's a little bit more sassy feeling to me. It doesn't quite fit. Maybe we'll just stick with these three and then we'll come to a little bit more of a conclusion as we get closer. Susby, Sventibold. Zulimar. Sufan. Okay, yeah, I think we'll stick with these three. Zenita, Zaraya, and Zafira. And we will come to a conclusion as we kind of make this person. Alright, Dekal's ruler, let's crack her open. Alrighty. Copy. Pasta. Ooh. Zafira. So, alrighty. We're not gonna worry about all this stuff. I'll make all this stuff later. But what I kind of want to focus on are the character appearance and things like that. So what we can do, actually there's not, so what I have is on Pinterest, I have like a bunch of boards relating to D&D, and one of those is character pictures. And for character pictures, I usually will pin anything that I think looks really cool that I could use to like create inspiration off of. But I can't think of one for this character. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and do some little writing descriptions instead. Maybe we'll put it in like the treasure area. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Alrighty. Features and traits, equipment, other proficiencies. Yeah, so we'll just write all that stuff in here. So this character, I very much want her to, sorry, them. What I did was I made, so the original idea behind this character is they were a bard who, and this is already established lore in my world. They were a bard who was female and came out of the ocean. She was supposed to be a gnome bard, was how it was supposed to start. But I kind of, as I started developing Decal and Umbra, I kind of wanted to switch it up a little bit. So what we have is a fun little dynamic where the merfolk believe that the first original caster was a bard who was a merfolk. And the people on land believe that the first original arcane caster, I should clarify it, our first original arcane caster, was a gnome woman who was on land. And what these two grubs don't know is that the answer is yes. This is going to be somebody who is a gnomish merfolk, who, in the Arcane Ascension, at the beginning of the Arcane Ascension, made arcane magic, and then started the Arcane Ascension by teaching other people. So, what we're going to kind of map out a little bit is this character's backstory is going to be of them saving a lot of the people in Decal from these giant titans called the element. They're like elementals, but giant. Hang on, my brain is so small, dude. History of Varia. Arcane Ascension and the War of the Cosmos. The Primordial Evil. The Primordials! That's what they're called. Dude, I could remember Primordial Evil, but I couldn't remember the Primordials. Help. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So what we had earlier was on the way to Umbra, we have the sunroom, which kind of gives us, and I'm going to actually move these around real fast. So waves came first, music came second, and then Titan and Marvel. So what we had was a very basic outline of a figure with extremely wavy black hair steps out of the sea onto the beach. Their hair is golden. Their hair has a golden comb, and their skin has almost a shimmer to it. I can't believe I wrote that wrong. And we established that they were a, they were a bard who was just, you know, dancing around, having a good time. And then, later is Titan, where we had her facing one of the primordials. And after this point, she would have gone into the Marvel phase, which is where the people of Decal basically elected her to be a leader. And because she's I think she should be a College of Lore bard, which means that she could take from the wizard spell list and warlock and sorcerer and what have you, but they could take from those spell lists and would be able to cast a spell clone, thus enabling them to live pretty much forever. I would also like to say, I kind of need to establish this as well, is I wonder if a mer person would have a longer life. Let's see what people of the internets have to say. Do merfolk have a longer lifespan? Oh, according to Greek mythology, they can live to be thousands of years old. Mermaids lived 300 years long until they die and turn into sea foam. Greek mythology. All right, springs, rivers, lakes, water nymphs. For nymphs to outlive 1,000 years if their trees, springs, etc. existed for longer than that. That's fun. 300-year-old mermaids and How old could mermaids get from a biological point of view? Yes! But that's from a mythological point of view. But what if there were real mermaids out in the oceans? How old might they get from a biological point of view? To estimate how long real mermaids live, we can look at the lifespan of similarly sized and intelligent marine animals. Sharks get to 20 to 30, dolphins live up to 60, and the Greenland shark can live up to 500. Can't turtles, ocean turtles lifespan. 50 years or more. Similar to mermaids, the Greenland shark is commonly around 6.5 and 13 feet. But why do they live so long? It's believed because of the cold waters that they live in. Interesting. Cool. Their metabolism might slow down so they don't use up too much energy. This slowed down metabolism might also delay the aging process significantly so that they simply age much slower. Ooh. They would have to live in polar region in ice-cold water. Whether mermaids could be real. Time for me to run. Alright, have a good one, Mr. Meatball. The more likely answer could be that real mermaids will live in warmer waters and reach a similar age to humans and marine mammals like dolphins and manatees. So they would probably have a lifespan of 60 to 100 years. So probably similar then. It is theoretically possible. Let's go. Mermaids with fishtails could not exist. They would freeze to death in the cold sea because of their human upper bodies. Human and fish body parts could not be found in the same body. Interesting. Okay, this is what they were talking about. Mermaids would freeze to death. Fish can survive in very low temperatures, but they're cold-blooded. Their body... So I guess that would raise the question. So I have another... I have another mermaid settlement, where it's really just, it's in Freya, which is on the other side of the world from where we are. So this is where we are right now, Umbra, which is where the mermaids are, and pretty much on the opposite side, except for slightly further down, because remember, my map is oriented more like this. So this part would be probably more like down here-ish. So if we were talking about like Autumnport, it would probably be right here. Cirencester is right here, which is like on the opposite side. It would also be a much, much colder climate. So we're either talking about creatures whose bodies do not, well, actually, I've kind of already established that these mermaids do have, like, scales. They don't really have, like, human body parts. They're more like, it's more like they have scales that kind of, like, go over their arms and stuff, and they are mostly scaled rather than, like, human skin. So in our world, we could say that the merfolk in Cirencester live longer than the merfolk in Umbra, simply because they live in a colder climate, and thus their bodies would be more adapted to living longer because of the whole because of the whole metabolism rate thing. So, I think what we'll do is we'll make it so merfolk do live slightly longer than humans, but it's more like the Isomar. And then the Cirencester people do live probably like lifetimes 2.5 longer than the ones in Umbra. Woo! That was nice. That was nice. A nice little fun detour. So we've established that in order for this person to have lived this long, they do have to have some kind of magic. That keeps them... Magic keeps them living this long. Alright. So, what we have is a person who, came from the ocean. Mother is a merfolk, and father is a gnome. Came from the ocean. Mother is a merfolk. Father is a gnome. I would actually probably say that a lot of merfolk would probably either know or be familiar with the altar self. I think it's a 2nd level spell. So then they could give themselves legs. I think that would be fun. For that to be like a pretty normal thing. I think so. Anyways, they came from the ocean. Mother's a merfolk, father's a gnome, so they're probably like a little bit of an outcast from both worlds. Bit of an outcast, at the time at least, from both the land and underwater worlds. So they love music, of course. Music, were brought... there was something I typed that made me think about this. That made me think about music. I need to close this. This. It wasn't this. Where's community? I can't recall. I was like, I better not forget that, and then... Here we are! We're brought up on music being very important to the merfolk and those in the sea, under the sea. Okay. They went above land to hope. This would have been before the War of the Cosmos, so it would have been before most major cities were established. It would have been very much in the beginning of time type shit. So yeah, during the Arcane Ascension, there were a few who learned. So she would have been the first one, and the Raven Queen and Vecna were the ones that came after, but they learned how to get it to God level power. And then we had the War of the Cosmos, which is where we get all of the gods basically fighting to take over the world or not take over the world. They're like, I don't think we should do this. And then the evil gods are like, well, I'm gonna take it over anyway. So that is something that happened and probably would have been something she fought against. So they went above land to hopefully find a place where they belong. They found that... Oh, you know what? I think I forgot. I think I just remembered it. I think that, the music of the merfolk... Oh my god, the music of the merfolk. The music of the merfolk keeps them living longer and has magical properties that enable the creatures in the area to be intelligent the longer that they are around. Around said source of magic. Which is basically Merfolk Central in Umbra. Umbra. So, I think this will be fun, actually. There they found that, their music, which the effects, okay, so, their music had magical properties, that were unusual to those above land. Being above land, I think, would be, like, basically being above land would allow her to see basically the strands in the air of the ley lines that she's manipulating to make magic happen. So, being above the water shows the magic that is being effected or affected. Being affected by the music. Thus, arcane and learned magic. I should say learned magic rather than arcane. Learned magic was born. So what we are seeing in the merfolk, I think, would be that their music would be something very innate. So sorcerer type stuff. So all merfolk are inherently like sorcerer-ish type people. And then what we are seeing when she comes above water is that she's able to recognize and see the ley lines in the air and see how they affect. And upon seeing how her music affects everything, is able to translate that music into a whole new medium. So, okay. And was thus able to transform that music into a whole new whole new medium. Thus, learned magic was born. Okay. Okay, so we've got learned magic is established. Then she starts teaching people. She teaches those who are interested, and it spreads like wildfire. So once she starts teaching people, the arcane ascension is then starting to begin, which is where we get Vecna and the Raven Queen going and ascending into godhood because they're so fucking powerful. So what we have at this point is a character who has gone through her character arc of the music portion. If you guys, I don't know who was here during that time, but when we were making this, we did Waves music were basically the exposition, the rising action, the Titan was the climax, and then the Marvel was the falling action. So we kind of did that based on the 4 basic points of plot. So what we need to do is establish Titan. So we need to give her a god, not a god, but like I don't want to give her a god that she teamed up with is probably more accurate. So, so here's the thing. We actually have a couple of options. We have the option of somebody who's not affiliated with any gods and is just like, I need to protect these people. which is actually kind of what I think I'm leaning towards. She's like, I gotta protect these people. And I think what we will do is, I think we'll have her completely separate from the gods and be fighting her own battles. That my brain is so slow, dude. That make it so that she's not on anyone's side, she's on the side of the people, and that's why the people made her the ruler of Dakal. Sorry, words are hard, man. Okay, so the War of the Cosmos begins, and she finds herself not on anyone's side except for the people. The peoples. So what she's going to do is she is famous for defeating the Earth. So I kind of want there to be a primordial that was a mix between like demons and the Earth primordial, which is where the like the dust spinner tornado primordial comes in. So she's famous for defeating the air and earth primordial. Blah. That was created by the devils. By the devils. Perfect. So she defeats that guy. Yes, perfect. Actually, let me fix this real fast. Oh, in their hair. I am so dumb. Help. I didn't read it correctly. She was famous for defeating the air and earth primordial that was created by the devils. And because she fought for the people directly instead of just the gods who were trying to protect their creations. Because what I have in my lore is that Scaria, the floating isles, were basically the last stand against the primordial evil, which are the evil gods, as well as the primordials, which are the giant hulking elemental titans. So basically the gods were like, we can't protect everyone, we have to back up into a safe zone, and so they backed up into Scaria, and that just kind of left everybody else for dead. So what she did is she protected a group of people outside of the god's protection, which is partially what made her so iconically memorable. And because she fought for the people directly instead of just the gods who were trying to protect their creations, the people made her ruler. And then at some point in that whole thing, they changed their pronouns, they recognized their identity, and become a they, them. Let's go. Non-binaries. Let's go. Magic keeps them living this long. Music of the Merfolk keeps them living longer and has magical properties that enabled the creatures in the area to be intelligent the longer that they are around said source of magic. I like it. I like it. I like it. So now they're the ruler of Dakal. Zunita, Zariah, Zafira. Kind of like Zafira. Zariah, Zafira. Zunita. I like Zafira. It feels powerful. It feels solid. I like that name. So, that's what we're gonna do for Zafira. I'm so excited! Ah! Okay. So the flag of Dekal. I kind of want, I have a personal attachment to the lotus flower, partially because of Avatar, because of the white lotus, you know? But on top of that, just the symbolism that the lotus has. So I kind of want I want the flag of Dekal. The flag of Dekal is a, gold outlined, sorry, is a gold outline of a lotus. Yeah, let's do flower. I was deciding if I like those two words. Lotus inherently. Anyways, it would be a flower, but I was just like a lotus flower. Is a, oh, there's two spaces here. The flag of Tikal is a gold outline of a lotus flower. On a white background. White background with a gold border, which kind of matches the lore that they caught earlier where the figure was in white and gold. So white would actually be very important in this area because wearing black in the middle of the sunshine is not a good idea, let me tell you. So I kind of like this a little bit. And I think I used blue and silver for Freya, and then gold and green for Broria. So, a little change of pace from the colors. Additional features and traits. Yeah, I think this is the vibe. I don't know if their looks have solidified in my mind yet. I don't know if their personality has completely solidified in my mind as well. I mean, of course, they'd have to be very strong-willed. A, to live this long and not want to die, for one. And for two, they would also... Oh, the idea of them keep taking this song, so it keeps mermaids living for, like, fucking ever, but not forever. But they learned how to take the songs of the merfolk and make it so that they live even longer. So a little bit of a moral quandary there. It's like, should they share this technology with the rest of the world? And their answer is to keep it to themselves at this point. So they, them, because they fought for the people directly instead of just the god who were trying to protect their creations, the people made them ruler. Yeah, I think this... yeah, so we'll do... So I think what we will do is the divide of their pronouns is the being known for making learned magic and then being known as the ruler of Dekal. So those are the two chapters of their life, I think. So, and they find themselves. Not on anyone's side except for the people's. Yes, sir. Whoops. Save. Yes. Alrighty. I don't know if they're... Yeah, so their physical traits and their personality traits have not completely solidified in my brain, so I think we're going to leave that for another day. Oh, I thought I exited out the music. I was like, it stopped. It was just a slight pause in the music and I panicked. No. So the ruler of Dakal, what we need to do is physical and personality. Yes. Okay, so the last thing that I think we're gonna do today, because my voice is dying, so I need to stop like talking 24/7, is to go ahead and we'll do the stranger that the group is meeting, and then what job they're gonna do. So this is gonna be a little fun, I think. Let me save this. More options. Work drive. D&D, Varia, to call. Then we will call this, to those. Save. Okay. I'll exit out of this. Close. Okay. So we'll save this, bookmark all tabs, under the call tabs. We will call this underwater cavern. Save. Okay. Woohoo! We're working it! We're doing it! Let's go! Alright, so the cavern, and next we have the job that they're doing. So, this character that we're going to give them is actually a character from my previous campaign, the Buff Ducks. So let me go ahead and pull up her info. Oh, wrong one. Sunday group? Yeah. This character is a character that I wanted to play as a PC, but I never got the chance to, because I have a limited amount of time in my life, and because the campaign that I was going to play her in, I ended up becoming the DM for, because our DM could not make it. So, I never got to play her, but I love her so much, and her name is Elir Varia. And yes, the name of the world is Varia, but with an A. And I want this character to... I never made her character sheet. Oops. I want this character... I never described her. I'm sad. I want this character to... So she's actually a dragon, for one. And something that dragons like to do in my world is keep the color of their scales in their human form as their eye color, as some other, like, defining aspect of them. So her eyes are gold, and she's a golden dragon. I can't remember what I named her dragon name, if I'm being honest. So, we're gonna wing it. Pun intended. Roll 20 session notes. Oh, where is it? The Tempest. The city, the underground city. This is it! Yeah! Lyriveria! Wow! This is my group that, oh my god. It brings back so many memories, dude. This group, so I basically made them all like folds, like reflections of extreme parts of each of the characters, and it was really fun to make. But on top of that, like, this group is named the Tempest, and then the Buff Ducks are named the Buff Ducks, and they were like, they just are so much better than us, which was not what I intended at all. But it was really fun because they got to do like bigger adventures, because they could send the Tempest to do like stuff like distractions and things like that. and then these guys, and then the buff ducks could go in and do the actual quest line that they were doing. So it was just a really fun, a really fun time in that game. It made for very, very long combat, but I kind of just like shoved them to the side and or let my players decide what their foil would do. So Evangeline would get to basically control Mikla in combat. It was just really cool. It was a lot of fun. White Dragonborn. Yes, this is her! I love her so much. This should be on her name. Yeah, you could say that it was an inspired choice. And what she really means is that the name of Varia was probably inspired by her. I would imagine that Alir and the ruler of Dakal are probably good friends. Alir probably helped Zafira. Is that what we named her? Zafira? I actually need to change the name, so Zafira. I need to change the name of that dock. There we go. Zafira. We'll open this, and we'll close it, so it'll be in my recent history, and then we'll bing bang bop all the way back. Perfect. Okay. I love her so much. Her character design feeds my brain. I spent so much time on her character design. She is awesome. So I actually made her back when I was making the actual character, and now she's just a part of my world, and I love her. Don't touch my beautiful, wonderful lady. Don't come at me. I love her. So she's dressed in black harem pants, open chiffon sleeves. Alir Varia. Delighted to make your acquaintance. Ha ha ha! I'm so excited. So what we actually need to do is... so what they're going to do is go to the city square and basically stand around, and this person is going to find them. So a dark skin with shoulder-length coiled hair. Strolls. I actually like better. Strolls up to your group. Ahaha. Okay, as you can tell, especially when I was running the buff ducks, I am a little bit more of a writer than I am a talker. So writing any session notes for me is like writing a story, and it's probably not the best choice, but it's how I run my games, and I enjoy it quite a bit. So let's see if there's anything else that we need to notice. Oh, this was one of my favorite interactions. It was so much fun. Yeah, I don't think we need any more from that dock though, so close it. And I think that we've got the character figured out. I'm so glad I don't have to write it out again, which is nice. So what we're gonna do now is we need to make the job. The more I think about it, the more in love with the heist idea I am. So she needs them to go into the museum of... Oh, I should probably just paste it. Wah, 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 wah. Why did it skip that? Okay. She needs to go to the museum to retrieve... What if... I kind of like the idea. So she's, you know, an ancient golden dragon, right? So what if she was like, what if she has a spell that she wrote down in a journal that is now in the museum, and she's like, I need that shit back. That's mine. And it has this spell that I forgot, man. I think that would be so fun. I think that would be so fun. To retrieve her journal that has some spell. That has a spell written down that that she has forgotten. Oh, that'd be so fun. Okay. Okay, she needs them to go to the Museum of Maelstrom to retrieve her journal that has a spell written down that she's forgotten. So the question, I think at this point is, do we have her, when they ask, like, how is your journal in a museum that is dedicated to things from literally millennia ago? Do we have her tell the truth and be like, I mean, obviously I was alive then, duh. And now it's stuck in a museum and I can't get it back? Or do we have her, say, oh, they got it wrong. This is not from the century that they say it is. Hello, Mystic Blah. How's it going? How are you doing? Thank you for joining us. I wonder... I'm attracted to both of those options. So we either they got the date wrong, the carbon date wrong, or they got... obviously I was alive. Obviously. I was alive then. Is this a modern setting? No, this is in my, my world, which is, it's classic D&D to some degree. And this person is, they don't know this. Some of my players will, but these characters don't know this. That this woman is actually a golden dragon. And so she's there to give them a job, and she has tried asking nicely for the museum to give it back to her, and she has effectively been kicked out of the museum, I think. She has tried asking nicely, but she got kicked out because she wouldn't take no for an answer. Perfect. A New York socialite? Really? What an interesting term. That is not that's not what I had in mind. A socialite. Interesting. Obviously I was alive then. I kind of want her to be a straight shooter. I kind of want her to be like, obviously I was alive then. It's kind of how I feel like she would answer. I love it. Okay, so now that we've got that figured out, my to-dos. I don't want to do this tonight because I'm running out of steam. So I kind of... We need to figure out the job, Museum of Maelstrom layout. And then I need to set up dynamic lighting and super fun stuff for all of that. So we'll save this. Do not cite the deep magic to me. I was there when it was written. I love a good Narnia reference, man. Okay. I think this is it, man. Oh, this should not be 6. This should be named 7. Because we're on session 7. The cavern. We'll open it again. So it's in my recents. Oh my god. Woo! Okay. I think that we've done it. I think that we've finished everything that we set out to do today. We've got our to-dos down to 4 instead of, I think it was like 6 or 7. We kind of figured out why the animals are intelligent. We decided that it was the siren song, basically. So we figured out that these little microwaves of music. I know, I'm sorry, Mystic. These little microwaves of music would go out to a certain radius outside of the city, and the amalgamated power of it all would make creatures intelligent underwater. And I think that we are all set to go for all of those things. So let's talk about what we're doing in the future. So I will be live again on Monday. I may be live on Tuesday. I don't think I will, because I'm playing games with my friends and I don't know if I want to introduce them into a online setting that they do not want to be in. So I may talk with them about it and see. But we will be back Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week. So yeah, 9 p.m. PST, not PST, MST. And then, yeah, I might hop on again in a couple minutes. I'm going to take a quick break and play some games. But for now, this is the end of Dungeons and Dragons. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!